Hello. So today what I want to show you is external style sheets. And so what we're going to start with is where we left off. We're going to look at internal. We're going to build an internal style sheet, and we'll show you how to turn it into or make it become an external style sheet. All right, so here I have some starter files for you. There's a couple of web pages, Index and Page 2, and a couple of photos, Jim and Oceanside. Just to show them to you real quick, if we open up Index, it's very similar to what we used before. A few little changes. We've got a headline, we've got a title, of course. We've got a headline, we've got a horizontal rule, we've got some links, just a little delimiter between links. We've got an image, some text in a paragraph, horizontal rule, subhead, paragraphs. Horizontal rule, subhead, paragraphs. And then finally, horizontal rule, subhead, and a list. All right, so that's the first page. The second page, similar stuff in a different order. Headline, horizontal rule, navigation, image, list, or subhead list, paragraph, horizontal rule, subhead, paragraphs, horizontal rule, subhead, paragraphs. All right, so that's what we're starting with. And let me close this down. And what we want to do is we want to go in. You'll notice that if we look at those pages, there's no formatting. I mean, there's very basic formatting. It's just HTML formatting. There's no styles involved, right? So what we want to do is we want to go in here and create some styles, and then I'll show you how to convert those internal styles into external styles, and then use an external style sheet to affect other pages. So we're going to open this with Notepad. And here we see the text that makes up the page. Okay, so here's the HTML for page 1. And you can see that there aren't any styles in it. So here's the head section, and the head only has the title section. So we're going to break in here, and we're going to put in style. And we're going to give it a couple lines and do a closing style. And here's where we'll put in the styles that will affect the page. And I just want to put in a variety of things here just so that we can get some general formatting. All right, so let's do a background. So body, background color, and I grabbed some color codes from a pretty cool website about color schemes for websites. I'll show it to you here at the end, but I'm going to be working with a couple of hexadecimal values that are specific colors that work together well. So that's the idea there. All right, so next let's do a headline, H1, and for this headline, we'll use color, and we'll also specify the font family. All right, and then in my page here, let's see, we're going to be dealing. We got a lot of these horizontal rules going across the page, so let's put in some codes regarding those. So horizontal rule, we'll do. I keep doing the square bracket here. There we go. Horizontal rule, we'll do border width of 0 pixels. So what I'm trying to do here is get the border to disappear, and then we'll do height is 2 pixels, and then we'll do background color, let's do 7 B. All right, so the idea here is that we're going to do a horizontal rule, which is a line that goes across the page. We're going to give it a border width of 0 pixels, so there's no border. And we're going to give it a height of 2 pixels, so the line's going to be 2 pixels tall, and the background color is going to be this color right here. And so essentially what I'm going to end up with is a solid bar of this color going across the page, and that bar will be 2 pixels high. All right. Now, I do actually have two different methods or two different ideas of the horizontal rule on this page. I've got this one up here next to the title, and then I've got these up down here that separate these paragraphs or sections. And so I actually want them to have two different fields, and so I'm going to create a variation of this horizontal rule. I'm going to call hr.top. So I'm specifying a class that only applies to the HR selector, and this one's going to be height 15 pixels, much taller, and then we'll do a background color, a different background color. Okay, so the idea here is that I'm going to have two different classes of horizontal rules, and this one is going to be at the top of the page, and it is going to be a different color, and it's going to be a taller block of color. Now, one thing to keep in mind is the idea of inheritance. So anything that I apply to this HR will also apply to this HR, unless they conflict with each other. If they conflict with each other, then the most recent, which is the farthest one down, that's the one that takes precedent. So in this HR, we specified that our border width was 0 pixels, and we didn't make any declaration in this declaration about border width. So that means that border width will continue to be 0 pixels because that's how we predefined it up here. Height here was 2 pixels, but we redefined that as 15 pixels. So 15 pixels will be what we get for hr.top. And then here we had a background color, but here we overrode that background color. So the only thing that's being inherited from this HR to this HR is our border width is 0 pixels. All right. You know what I just noticed in our page here, we've got this headline, but then farther down we've got these subheads. I'd like those to match, not in size, but in like color and style and that sort of thing. So what I can do here is under HR, I can just do H1, I can do comma H3. So by doing this, what I'm doing is specifying that for headline size 1 as well as headline size 3, we're going to use this color and this font family. What will be different is the size. I didn't specify a size in the declaration, so their default size for their H1 and H3 will take effect. Okay, in my document, I just specified here hr.top, so I need to make sure that in my document I go and I find the appropriate HR. So here's my HR that's coming right after the headline, and I need to specify that this one is going to use class equals top. All right. Okay, otherwise, if I hadn't done that, then this wouldn't have been implemented anywhere. It would have just used HR throughout. Okay, similarly, up at the top of my page, I have these 3 links, right? So I've got a link to page 2, and I've got a non-breaking space, and then this little OR symbol, which is a vertical line, and another non-breaking space before the next link, which shows up on the same line. And then I've got that delimiter or that spacer again, and then I have it again that shows up on the next line. I really don't need this one. Get rid of that one. By the way, if you're not aware of these, this symbol right here is a special character. And this particular special character is a non-breaking space. And that's just like hitting the space bar on the keyboard. So what I'm doing is spacing out the text in my navigation. So this section, these 3 links all together are going to be my navigation. And so in HTML5, you can use a section tag called nav. Oops, you got to do it right though. All right. Okay, so essentially what I've just done is I've broken out this stuff as section as its own section nav. What does that do? Well, nothing yet, but what it does do is it gives me a container to go up here and specify what nav is. Okay, so under nav, I can do some stuff like text align is centered. The color, we'll use that one. For font family, you know what? I'm making this match, so I'm just going to copy it up here. I'm too lazy to type any more than I have to. Okay, next we're going to do font weight is bold. Alright, and so essentially I'm saying that everything that falls inside the nav tags is going to take on all these style characteristics. Okay, next on my page I've got an image, so I need to get my image declaration here. Oops, caps lock, image. Let's see, I want a width of 250. I want the image to float to the right side of the page so the text can wrap around it on the left. I want a border around the image, so it needs to be a solid and 2 pixel. Okay, so this is one of those funny situations where I've got two characteristics or two values that are part of the same attribute within the declaration of the keyword. That's fine to do. Some of them require commas, like Arial sans serif. In this case, they don't. You just put a space in between them. All right, and then we're going to do border color. That's a new one. Is 777B88. What I'm doing in this case is I'm going to put a line, a 2-point line around the image, and if you'll notice, this 2-point line is matching the style of this HR. Same color, same thickness. So I'm trying to build some kind of cohesive look to the page. Margin around my picture, I'm going to put a big margin, 20 pixels, around the outside of the image. All right, we're zooming here. Okay, what's next? Next in my list here, we got the image. Next I have paragraphs. All right, so I want to specify what my paragraphs look like. And basically, I want to keep them the default text, but I'm going to change the color. We're going to use that one. I like that one. Okay. Oops, look what I did. I'm not supposed to put that in brackets when I'm declaring it as a style. All right, there is a situation that I want to use in this particular page where I've got some text that kind of leads in, like this paragraph kind of leads into the page, and then I've got a subhead in its own section and another subhead in its own section. So for this paragraph that leads into the page, I want a special style. So I'm going to make this a class, paragraph lead, and we're going to make it just bold. Okay. So, and then in that particular paragraph, this one right here, we got to specify class equals lead. Now, you might be thinking, why didn't I use an ID for that if that's going to be the only instance on the page? And you know what? You're right. I very well could have used an ID for that instead of a class. But because it's a delineation of P and it's not its own thing, I just stuck with this. All right, UL. At the bottom of my page, I've got a list. So let's specify that for my list, I'm going to use that same color. I'm going to keep all our text about the same. All right, and then our navigation. Well, one thing we did was with nav right here. We've got opening and closing nav. Everything that falls inside that nav open and closing tags, it's meant to be centered in a certain color and a certain font and bold. And look, there's an error right there. There we go. And all of that is good. But one thing I didn't do is consider that these are links. And so links can take on state-specific attributes. I'm going to steal some of these colors so I don't have to retype. All right, so in this situation, this link is an unvisited link. It's a standard link that has not yet been clicked on. And so it's going to be this color. And then I'm going to cheat. I'm going to take this, go to the next line, and this one is going to be a visited link. And for the visited link, I'm going to use the same color. So if I'm going to use the same color, did I need to put it in here? Yeah, actually I did. And the reason is if I hadn't put it in here, it would have gone to its default, which would have been the purple. And so even though I'm using the same color, I still needed to list it. All right, this one's going to be the hover. So if you hover over the link, then the color is going to be 777B88. Okay, and then finally active. By the way, if I didn't mention this before, these the order of these matters. Color. It matters because of inheritance. So if I put active above visited, or if I put active above link, then it's not going to inherit that color. It's not going to inherit the previous color. It's going to start out with this rather than starting out with this, right? They have to be pretty much in that order. All right, so I'm going to save this. Now, I just put in this whole style sheet, but I did not yet once check to see if these styles were working. I need to troubleshoot. So before we go any further, I'm going to troubleshoot. So I'm going to bring open the page and refresh it. All right, look at how different that is from the way it looked a minute ago. Okay, so we've changed our headline size 1. We've got our HR top, right? We've got our navigation, and I've got a couple of those links that have been visited and one that hasn't. If I hover over it, I can see that it changes to a different color. If I click on one, while I've got mouse down, it changes to a slightly different color, almost a black, like a dark gray. I'm going to try not to click on it, right? And then once it's visited, it's turned purple. Now that's not really what I wanted. I didn't want my visited to be purple. I wanted my visited to be the same as it was on the page regardless, right? So something's not going right for those. Let's go check out our code. Oh, I got a color issue right here. I missed a 3, and then I repeated it. All right, so that's better. So we'll save that. It didn't recognize the hexadecimal code because it was an incomplete hexadecimal code. So now look at my links. My links have changed colors so that they match other elements on the page, like that bar. It's kind of a dark burgundy color, if you can tell. And then if I hover over it, it turns gray. And then if I click on it and hold down, it turns to like a black. And then when I let go of it, it would actually turn back to the original color. I didn't want my visited links to look differently. I don't know if you can tell, but my lead paragraph is bold, right? And the rest of these paragraphs are not black. They're a subtle kind of burgundy kind of color. I've got a 2-point line around my picture, which is a kind of a gray color, which matches these 2-point horizontal rules. So I've basically fairly drastically changed the look and feel of this page with an internal style sheet. Nothing new. We did this in the last assignment, different colors, different styles, but we did this in the last page, in the last assignment. I'm going to stop the video now, and I'm going to continue with the next video so that we can break up the videos and not have them too long. So please follow me to the next video, and from this point on, what we're going to do is turn this internal styles into an external style sheet.